Welcome back to the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. If you need a roof, you know who to call. We talk about it all the time. You call Ireland Contracting. They're the best in the business. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. They can do anything, not just roofs. They do sidings. They do gutters. They do windows. Anything you need. That's why they are #1 in Pittsburgh. 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Give me a call right now, 412-575-2600 on the Bordas and Bordas hotline. You know, I was just going on my Pitt-Penn State rant. I can continue that. I mean, I definitely think Pitt-Penn State's a bigger rivalry than Pitt-West Virginia. But, hey, West Virginia wants to play Pitt. Pitt wants to play West Virginia. I'd like to see them all play. Schedule that. I think Pitt needs a big rivalry on their schedule. They don't have one in the ACC. I don't even think there could be one in the ACC, really, when you look at the schools. I know that originally that they were trying to make the Pitt-Maryland a rivalry, but Maryland goes off to the Big Ten, so that's not a rivalry. I mean, and who else is there, really? I mean, you look at that Coastal Division, you can't make a rivalry out of anyone. I mean, I know they try to keep some of those Big East teams rivalries with them, but you're just forcing it. You know, I wish college football would just realign everything, redo everything, do super conferences. I think we might see that someday. That would be nice, and then you just make the schools. It would be better for everyone, because think about it. Geographically, it works. You don't have to pay all this money for travel with the Olympic sports. It would make sense. Why doesn't the NCAA make sense? I don't get it. I just don't get it. All right, back up to the phone line. Let's go out to Waylon out in Washington. What's up, Waylon?
Hey, Rick. Really do appreciate you.
Thank you.
I love the show, obviously. And
Thanks.
I love your Pitt and Penn State thoughts. I really do. However, I got a lame kind of.
You got a butt. I know.
Yeah, of course. But and it's a butt. It's a Butler. Like the defensive coordinator for the Steelers.
Yeah.
I'm very optimistic that he's going to do real well this year. What's your thoughts?
I don't know about that. I'm not optimistic as you are, Waylon. I think they got a lot of issues. I think one of the issues is stopping the run. Ryan Shazier is a huge loss. They haven't replaced him yet. They're trying to do all these different kind of exotic looks, and I think that's the way to go in the NFL with maybe 7 defensemen. They're calling it a dollar package. Then they got the Seminole package with 3 inside linebackers. I like what they're trying to do, but I think they're trying to mask a problem they have inside and a problem against the run, and you saw what happened towards the end of the year without Ryan Shazier. They need an athletic guy like that. They need to find a guy like that again, and maybe Terrell Edmonds is that guy. He's kind of going to be like that hybrid safety, maybe inside linebacker guy, and maybe you might see 3 safeties out there a lot. Usually they're. I mean, you would think if you look back to last year, I think it's like 75% of the time there's, 5 DBs out there. So I think you're going to see that a lot, especially in a pass-heavy league, Waylon. But I'm not. I think they're going to be an average defense. I really do. Not great, but not bad. I think they're just going to be right in the middle. Hopefully you can call and correct me later in the year, but I would bet at the end of the year their stats are going to be 15th around there across the board.
Great, but not bad. I think they're just going to be right in the middle.
You there, Waylon?
Yes. Here's another thing, and thank you for answering me that. But West Virginia always gets the toughest schedule there is. I mean. They play big schools, and they're a small,
Well, you know what, Waylon, West Virginia shouldn't even be in the Big 12. It's just a bad fit for them. They're traveling across the country for football and every other sport. It's just not the right fit. They had to join the conference or they would have been left out in no man's land with like a Cincinnati and all those other Big East teams. I mean, West Virginia would be a better fit in the ACC, but the ACC doesn't want West Virginia for some reason. I would like to see West Virginia in the ACC. Maybe that potentially could happen, but West Virginia, they're not a Big 12 team. I will never view them as a Big 12 team.
Is that right? Yes.
Yeah. Hey, thanks a lot, Waylon. I appreciate it. Let's go out to Gary out in West Elizabeth. What's up, Gary?
Hey, Rich. I got a comment and then a question for you. It's a no-brainer, right? They should keep Dobbs instead of Landry.
No-brainer. I did that story at 6. I'm doing it at 11. It's a no-brainer. Here's my reason why. And I'll let you talk about this. If Ben gets hurt, 1 or 2 games, roll the dice with one of these guys. You got Le'Veon Bell. You got Antonio Brown. You can win a game, right? for 2 games. If Ben gets hurt for the entire season, your season's basically over anyways. You're not going to the Super Bowl. Ben is the guy.
Off on Dobbs like they can Landry.
Yeah, but I mean, I understand Landry knows this offense better than those 2 quarterbacks, and maybe Ben wants Landry around to help him as almost like a quarterbacks coach kind of thing. Maybe that's one of the things that'll play into this. But I think Dobbs. You should go with Dobbs and Rudolph. I know Pomp and I are on the same page with this one,
and
especially after last night.
Landry's last year on the contract. Dobbs got what, 2 more?
Yeah, well, last year on the contract for Landry Jones, and he's making $2.5 million. You could release that, and maybe get one of these linebackers that's going to be released from some other team. I mean, their roster isn't set. They're going to get someone from another team. And I would imagine it's going to be maybe a linebacker, offensive lineman, or something like that. You're going to see a guy coming in here. It's not going to.
Talent and money-wise, you keep Dobbs.
Yeah, money. I mean, it makes sense. I think
it makes sense.
I think, yeah, and it gives you a different look too.
Right. And then my other question was that defensive back, number 29. He's the one at 6'3", right?
Brian Allen. He's one of the fastest guys on the team.
Yeah.
I think he's their final corner that they keep. I think they're going to keep 6 corners and 4 safeties. That's what I have.
Why I want to keep him.
You have to.
When we play New England, I would put him on Gronk, and I would say, you follow Gronk everywhere he goes. He goes to the locker room, you go with him.
I'd imagine that they're going to put someone on Gronk like a Cam Sutton or a Terrell Edmonds.
Gronk got 6 to 8 inches on him, most of all our back. But he's 6'3". He can hang with him.
But here's another thing, Gary. Brian Allen's still learning that position. He was a receiver.
Yeah, I know.
So, but he's fast. He's big. That's what you want. For a corner, he had a good, he got a good preseason. They're keeping him. I think he's the final cornerback in this picture. I think they're going to go with 4 safeties.
I just think that's the kind of person you need to.
Yeah.
If you look at the defensive backs that do good against him, the guy from Jacksonville, Keeps Elite, they're taller, they're quicker. You know what I mean? You need someone that's comparable to him in height. And
speaking of big guys, Marcus Allen's a pretty big guy, and I think he's going to get cut. I think he's going to be released, and I bet the Steelers try to sneak him on
right?
No, Marcus Allen. I mean, he was hurt through preseason, but he hasn't been hurt the last 2 games. And it's, you're talking to the coaches, it's hard to evaluate a guy like that. I think they try to sneak him on the practice squad.
Where's Hilton been?
Hilton's been injured. Hilton's been injured, but I think he makes his team unless they can, unless it's an injury that might last a few weeks, and you could throw him on the pup, and then you keep.
But no one. He comes off that corner blitz better than anybody else.
Yeah, and he's going to be their slot guy too. So you can't cut him. Like I said, I think they're keeping 6 corners, 4 safeties. They're going to keep 10 total.
All right, thanks, Rich.
Appreciate it. Let's go out to David on the south side. What's up, D?
Yeah, how you doing today?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, I was just calling about, I'm going to touch on what the previous caller said about Dobbs in their #1 draft choice. And truthfully, they outplayed Landry Jones.
No question. Yeah.
Landry Jones has not showed me anything since he's been here.
You know what's telling? I know all the fans out there want Dobbs.
I would hope that the Steelers just don't keep him around because of Big Ben, the franchise quarterback, like him. We're out here to win games.
Well, and I think they have a better shot at winning games if Ben gets hurt with Landry Jones. But I think Josh Dobbs proved something in this last game. Hey, it's a final exam. This is what Mike Tomlin says. The lights are on. Josh Dobbs came out there and won a job, in my opinion. He won a job. He should be your backup, Mason Rudolph. And I think that those 2 guys can get you through 2 games or something like that. But if it's anything longer, like I said, your season's in jeopardy anyways, and your chances of going to the Super Bowl are very slim without Ben Roethlisberger. I keep Dobbs. I am a guy that says you got to keep Dobbs on this team. Try to get something for Landry Jones. I mean, hey, it's a good thing they got 4 good quarterbacks. That's a good problem to have. A lot of teams don't have that, so maybe you could get something for Landry Jones, and maybe there's a team out there that one of these teams that their starters aren't really set. They don't have a good backup, and you throw Landry Jones in the mix, and it might be a better situation for everyone. All right, I got to take a break. Back with more of your phone calls. Maybe some of your tweets coming in next. Stay right there.